This next portion of our around-the-country trip covers the 3-day journey from Little Rock, Arkansas to Lubbock, Texas. Leaving Willow Beach Campground near Little Rock, point E on our travel map, we planned for our next overnight stop in southeastern Oklahoma at Virgil Point Campground, point F. From there we proceed to Wichita Falls, Texas, point G, and then on to West Texas in Lubbock, point H. Here we go. The day starts out with overcast conditions, and by the time we arrive in Hot Springs, we face a light and steady rain. We decide to make it a shorter visit and instead take a drive through town to see how things have changed since our last visit here from a few years back. The center of Hot Springs is the oldest federal reserve in the United States, known today as Hot Springs National Park. Following federal protection in 1832, the city developed into a successful spa town. Today, Hot Springs National Park is maintained by the National Park Service, including Bathhouse Row, which preserves the 8 historic bathhouse buildings and gardens along Central Avenue. Downtown Hot Springs is preserved as an historic district built during the Great Depression in the Art Deco style. This area is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Hollywood City Park along Hot Springs Creek turned out to be a great spot for lunch. We were treated to a rain-free walk as well, just what the doctor ordered. Once outside of Hot Springs, we were immediately back on a 2-lane road. The small towns started to have a more western feel to them, and we were excited to get out into the open plains of Oklahoma and Texas. Here we are, Oklahoma, our seventh state on day 5 of our Around the Country trip. We are in the southeastern part of Oklahoma, just north of the Texas border. We are headed for our overnight stay at Virgil Point Campground on the eastern shores of Hugo Lake in Hugo Lake State Park. The clearing skies and sunshine, quiet neighbors, along with great views, made it a great stop.
Leaving, what is the name of this park?
Hugo Lake, Virgil Point Campground.
Okay. It's a pretty place.
Southeastern Oklahoma.
Beautiful sky.
Today is Saturday, March 24th. The wide open plains begin in earnest, giving us great views of the countryside as we head south a bit to enter into Texas. At Paris, Texas, we find U.S. Route 82 and head due west. Our destination for the day is Wichita Falls. Just west of Gainesville, Texas, we stop at a roadside rest, not just for lunch, but to check out the historical marker alert attached to the roadside rest sign. Lo and behold, we are crossing the famous Chisholm Trail. The Chisholm Trail was used in the post-Civil War era to drive cattle overland from ranches in Texas to the Kansas railheads. And another highlight, I take a close-up photo of the many beautiful blue wildflowers we have been seeing in the fields and along the sides of the road. I post this photo for the folks back home and learned from our Texas friends that these flowers are the very famous Texas bluebonnet. Well, a visit to Texas without going to a steakhouse is out of the question. Accordingly, we stop in for dinner at McBride's in Wichita Falls. The place is packed, so we order takeout. Nothing like a delicious Texas-sized sirloin. Our day starts with clear skies. We are definitely in Texas. Vast open prairie interspersed with a sprinkling of oil wells in all directions. From Wichita Falls, elevation 948 feet, we will be heading into the High Plains region with Lubbock, our destination for the day, at over 3,200 feet in elevation. We encounter a few cars in either direction, but those moments are rare. This roadside rest somewhere near Dickens, Texas, was our only diversion on this route, so we stop in for a rest and a meal. Miles of open land surround us in all directions. Somewhere in the middle of Texas.
Heading on to Lubbock. From the picnic area, we had lunch. It was a great place for a picnic area. I didn't.
Texas.
We are in Crosby Town, Texas. How big was this town? 100,000 people? The last town we missed was 200 and some people.
We decide to drive off the main highway through the town proper. We see very few people on the streets. Despite its appearance of no activity, the town was well kept and free of debris or litter. Our close-up view of this town is just a sample of what we will experience in the days and weeks ahead. The long drive today to Lubbock across seemingly endless prairie is tiring but very wonderful at the same time. We can't wait for what the next day brings.